Alright guys, today I'm going to show you how to format a Works Cited page in Word. So you start with your blank document, and then the first thing I always do is I change my font. In this case I'm going to use Times New Roman, and it has to be 12 size font. Then I'm going to go to the middle, and I'm going to type my title, which is either Works Cited or Works Consulted. A lot of times at HumeFog it is a Works Consulted situation, unless you're actually writing a paper where you actually have to cite internally. So I'm going to call this one Works Consulted. And you want to make sure that it is set up for double spacing. There's lots of ways to do this, but I'm going to just do it one way. I'm going to right click and hit paragraph, and I'm going to make sure it says 0000 line spacing double, and I'm going to hit OK. Now I've hit enter, and I'm going to go back left, and this is when I actually start building my citations. And you are going to follow the templates that you've picked, and you will make sure that you use the whether it's italicized or not. So for example here, I'm going to show you the infographic here, and this is what you're actually filling out. And so this is, you fill out a template based on this, and this tells you whether things are kind of italicized or in quotes, so it's actually really helpful. But there are lots of them available. Check out our citation center that we'll get going, and that will help. So going back to our document here, I'm gonna take one. For example, I'm gonna create one right here off the top of my head. So say I had an article written by Scott Adams, and the title of the article was The New Age. And then that article was in the New York Times. That was my container, and I would italicize that. Now keep in mind here that containers are full words. So one of the reasons we can't use EasyBib anymore is it's tragic. A lot of times it puts the abbreviations, which is not right. So we have to be really mindful of that. And once again, going back to this, it will actually tell you what the punctuation is, which is really cool. So it'll tell you, do I put a period? Do I put a comma? So it's going to tell you all of those things. So super helpful. You fill out the template, and it's going to help you along all the way. So in this case, I just have, a lot of times web sources are pretty easy. A lot of times you don't even have an author. You just have a title. You have a container. Sometimes you do have a publisher of that container, but a lot of times the publisher and the title of the container is the same, and in case it's the same, you just have the container name. So that's what it is here, because the the publisher of the New York Times is the New York Times. Okay, so at this point, you can see here that I would do the publication date, and then your location, and then I don't even have to put the access. So I'm gonna go with my publication date. So say it's 12 August 2016. Okay, and then I'm gonna put my my URL, and a lot of times you just copy and paste this in. So and so there's no HTTP. So say it's New York Times, and it's the whole thing. So whatever it is, I would copy and paste it in. So I'm just making one up right here. So let's say that was it. So at this point, one last thing, I'm gonna actually put a period there. So put that there. All right. Now at this point, I would put in all my citations. So I'm just gonna grab one from another source and put that in, and you can see how I add that. And this one did it right, but just because I was adding from somewhere else. But usually you actually do not have the hanging indent. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So Usually when you're doing this and you put it in, it looks like this, and you have to have a hanging indent. That means the lines after the first are indented. And so the way you do that is you click on paragraph, and under special you go to hanging. So you can do that. You actually highlight the whole thing and you do that. It's usually something I do at the end. Whoops, wrong name. So once again, right click, go to paragraph, special, hanging, hit OK. Whoops, that didn't. So that's it. Last thing to do is alphabetize, and so so you go by the first word except for ands and these. So you make sure you do that, and then you got it. All right, that's all. So if you need anything else, you know where I'm at. Check out our MLA Resource Center in the library.